like
on both
like
sides.
when
Yeah.
you're and I'll try to play devil's advocate, which is what my hero Rogan does all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's say that you are in the position where you feel like somebody of the LGBT community should be able to walk through life without being noticed as
Mhm.
different, right?
Yeah.
Which is pretty far-fetched for somebody who's a little more towards the center, right of center, is myself. The idea that I can imagine that in 100 years, yes, 100%. But right now, I don't see that. I see a lot more transition involved between a time
Yeah.
when we just have all the people of all the different varieties without even noticing it.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Those things
For sure.
take time, in my opinion.
I agree.
But when you have somebody who has been hurt by it and has decided, or not decided, but just embraced that that's become their cause, is to fight for something they believe in. If once they've locked into seeing a certain right that isn't being represented, or that somebody deserves that they're not getting,
Yeah.
that you they probably have to lock in tunnel vision,
Yeah.
and like kind of phase out all the other opposing opinions, because they found something they know is right.
Yeah.
In my perspective, maybe it's right. Maybe there's more to it than just fix it now, or it needs to stop now. I've always thought these things change over time.
Yeah,
And they always have. That doesn't change the level of injustice that's involved.
Yeah.
But in reality, things change over time.
Yeah.
But that doesn't alleviate that person's need to call it the way they see it.
Yeah. I mean, I think so. It kind of sounds like, and this is really, I mean, I think it's really cool that you have that opinion as being someone kind of in the center, or a little bit center to the right, like you said, that you have this level of like acknowledgement of the importance of that. I think that's really cool, and it makes perfect sense. So what you're kind of saying is, you think you would think that people who think that there needs to be some kind of social change or whatever, sometimes it takes that serious dedication and tunnel vision on the extreme cases to kind of start pushing whatever it is that needs to happen, is kind of what it sounds like you're saying, that you do think like sometimes that's just what it takes. Like if everyone was just balanced, what changes would be made if everyone was just content and perfectly balanced with everything? Things would be pretty stagnant, so it does take that. So that makes sense. I guess I would still ask, or I would still wonder, even with that, I still feel like there needs to be more compassion on both sides. As fucking cliche or whatever, hippy dippy that sounds, it's just something that watching and listening to all the IDW stuff, even like Jordan Peterson sometimes, and some of the people that I admire so much, I feel like there's going to be people that they will never resonate with, people that will never even give Jordan Peterson the time of day, because of how the criticism needs to happen, but how it's like he's criticizing people with no openness to the suffering that they might be going through. That's the question that I always ask, playing devil's advocate too. And I love Jordan Peterson. It's like, well, isn't it true that some of the people that he criticizes, postmodernists and super leftist activists or whatever, aren't those people going through the most sufferings in a lot of the cases? I wonder if Jordan Peterson, if he expanded his openness to them too, he could help people get through those stages, of feeling the resentment that they feel. I mean, and maybe you disagree with me on it, but I feel like if someone has resent for someone else, it's because they are hurting in some way, I believe that from things that I've gone through and situations I've been in, and just kind of, the spiritual part of myself, you could say, is I believe that when someone can have hatred for someone else, it's because there's something going on in them, and that maybe sounds like an insanely optimistic and hippy dippy thing, but I always wonder that, I wonder what it could be like if there was like even more, I mean, it's almost like Jesus Christ level, like stuff like Jesus, that's what he did. He was like compassion to every single person, even the people that hated him, and, ultimate compassion, something I've talked about in other podcasts. But anyway, I'm just curious. That's kind of the pushback that I always have is I always think there's room for more openness, or however you want to put it,
Yeah, I would call that a bandwidth issue, like a human mental bandwidth issue.
Yeah.
Somebody like Peterson, as much as he's an expert in his understandings in his endeavors, he's also human, right?
Yeah.
And he, just like the people that I was discussing a minute ago, has found something that affected him, that gave him an opportunity to stand up and fight for something that he really believes in.
Yeah.
By with the tools that he has.
Yeah.
Right. You take a guy like that, and so when you ask, could he stand to afford more compassion and more experience or more connection with people who might disagree with him? Of course. But
and I don't want anyone to think that I'm like hating on Jordan Peterson. I fucking love him. He like saved my life. So,
that he could totally do that, but I don't think I would say it's a bandwidth issue.
That makes sense. Yeah, it's like, would it even do anything really at this point if he did that?
He might be also extremely effective in those endeavors, but I think the crowd, or the fan base of people who have shown that they've been helped by him would push back, probably.
Yeah, for sure.
If they notice that.
Yeah,
right?
It's
definitely like when you find somebody who's an expert in something that you're passionate about, you want them to do their best to manifest it.
Yeah,
Right?
it's a good way to put it, for sure. Yeah, I agree with that. What do you mind me asking? Like, have you listened to like a ton of Jordan Peterson stuff? Have you like really delved into? Okay,
no,
cool.
I do the same thing with everybody.
Gotcha.
When I found Rogan, I listened to all his stuff, and I still do, all the podcasts. But then going into older stuff like Alan Watts recordings, I've listened to hundreds and hundreds of hours of his stuff.
Nice.
Terrence McKenna. I went back and listened to Timothy Leary.
Nice.
And what I noticed is that with the way that I do it, which is like listen, I kind of binge, over time. I'll geek out on it for a period, and then I notice, and this is where that bandwidth idea comes from, is you listen to somebody for long enough, you realize that they do have a path. You know what I mean? That's more narrow than, I wouldn't call it narrow, but it's narrow like everything else in the world is.
Yeah.
So you listen to enough of anybody, and you come to a point where you realize, wait, I think I've heard just about everything.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Not by any means saying that I've learned everything they have to teach.
Yeah.
I'm saying I've heard
enough where
heard the story.
Yeah, gotcha. That's a good way to put it too. Like I know that that's what I feel like at this point with Jordan P. I literally have like watched all of the stuff on his YouTube, and at this point, like even all the new interviews, it's like I kind of know where it's going to go, or some of the points he hits on. Doesn't mean it's not insanely valuable, but I know what you're saying. You kind of get that feeling of like the story or whatever it is, that thing.
I think that is nothing more than just a sign that, hey, you know what, mix it up.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
Because I have the habit of when I find somebody that I really like, just to bury it, doing tons of it.
That's why I like Joe Rogan's podcast so much. Like, I think that's why he has like the most badass podcast, is because he like mixes it up every time. It's like he doesn't have, it seems to me that, and I haven't listened to all of Joe Rogan, but like he doesn't have an agenda really. He just like talks to someone and interviews them, and it's just an insanely vast like audience of people and different guests. So that's kind of part of what I'm aiming at with this podcast. Like we talked a lot bit of it. I admire that format and want to go that route with this. Like hopefully mix it up, like you said. Like I definitely want to keep going down that path with it. I'm just curious to ask you, like this just popped in my mind, but did you see the video of Jordan like the guy jumping up on stage with Jordan Peterson? He was at like, that's it, very interesting. You know, I don't know. I'm just curious. You should watch it. But